Hey everyone, and welcome to Uncle Bart's College Cuisine. It occurred to me I've never actually shown how to make my tomato sauce in an episode. I've talked about it, I've used it, but I've never showed you how to make it. So, at the suggestion of my nephews, I'm going to make for you now some of UBFTS, Uncle Bart's famous tomato sauce. It used to be Uncle Bart's basic tomato sauce, but Zach said, no, let it be more famous. So I said, okay, fine. Me, not a glory hog. Hello. Anyway, let's start off with, of course, the basics. Onion, garlic, tomatoes, or tomatoes, as we say here in America. And let's get going. Excuse me. In fact, a little story here. When we were kids, my mom and dad used to buy 3 or 4 bushels of Roma tomatoes every fall. And we processed them into 12 dozen jars of tomatoes. We loved doing it, and we would put them in our cellar. Now, my dad would make, on Sunday, 10 quarts of tomato sauce. 6 quarts of stuff like Red Pack or Pope, Tutto Ronzoni in the old days when you can get Ronzoni tomatoes. If you search a very famous movie about gangsters and that famous scene about I'll show you how you may have to cook for 20 guys now and then, whatever the line is. They had Ronzoni tomatoes. You can't get that no more. So we're just going to make a small batch, 1 Red Pack and 2 Great Values. Believe me, they're all good. And let's get started. I'm using my small knife today. What the hell. Let's bring out this boy, and then I'll use the cleaver. A friend of mine almost had a heart attack one time. I was showing him how to cut an onion, and the damn thing slipped. And I was wearing my glove, so I didn't get hurt, but still. I should be wearing my glove now, but somebody can't find it. I'm not going to mention any names. But right now he's peeling an onion on his YouTube show. Sorry for the bad joke. I may cut this all out anyway. Okay, let's continue now. We had a little interruption there. That's why we had the lap dissolve. Here we got the onions. And let's get the garlic. I just realized I don't think I shared it with the... I didn't share it with the audience yet. I found my mezzaluna. So we're going to use that to chop up everything here. Let's get some nice garlic out. Here we go. Move the knife. And of course, take out your aggressions with a can of tomatoes. Onto the garlic. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa! Tried to get away. 5. In fact, you know what? Let's go for the in-laws. There we go. So like I was saying, my dad would make, a huge pot of sauce. And he would use 6 cans. And then he's about to go downstairs and bring up 4 jars of tomatoes. I bring up 4 jars, and because I got to be very honest with you, my father always made an extra quart because we would be forever tasting the sauce after about the first hour to an hour and a half. See, when we make this sauce here, this is a small pot. This is essentially 2 cans of sauce. This is going to take half an hour to 45 minutes to cook because, with that few tomatoes, the sugars have matured, flavor's done. It's when you make the huge pots. You got to cook them for 3.5 hours. And then when you add meat to the sauce, my father regularly added meatballs and sausages number 1. If he had it, he would make a braciole, which is a rolled beef dish with cheese and garlic and parsley and salt and pepper. It was very good. Sometimes, I think I told you once before, pig skin braciole, which I loved. In fact, I think me and my father were the only ones that liked it. So we got have it most. That's why he was on at 1 or 2 pieces of pigskin brajol. And then he would put in some chicken sometimes. The thing about chicken is it immediately thinned out the sauce. So I suspect that's when it got a little too thick. We always had a joke that my dad could make a sauce and it could be like tomato juice, just completely water-like. He said a prayer. He played a Frank Sinatra album. Who the hell knows? All I know is it came out thick as can be and delicious. Well, here it is, my mezzaluna. Now the thing about this is, you just like I said, you rock back and forth, and take your time. It's not a race. It's not Iron Chef. See how this is? Chop. Oh, and this. Of course, sometimes you'll lose a couple of pieces. Don't worry, that's why I got dogs. Now, if I had fresh basil, I would do the same thing to the basil. But I don't. Today, I'm using up, well, not the last, but getting close to the last of my jarred stuff that I did last fall. When I had all that lovely basil out of the garden, and I just mashed it up in a bunch of extra virgin olive oil. You put it in the fridge, and it literally turns solid, and it protects the basil. So I use it all winter long, you know, for family stuff. When I'm just doing it for me, and you know, 1 can of sauce for a little pasta or something, I use dry. And again, using dry is no sin. Don't go bats about it. All right, here we go. All done. Now, truth be told, like I said before, if I had better shoulders, I'd do it more. Here we go. We'll put this into a frying pan. Get a towel down here. I need to cover my board first in a minute. And a little olive oil. I don't measure, but it's about a good half cup or more of olive oil. As far as I'm concerned, you can never use too much olive oil in a certain amount of sauce. There we go. Now, I love these because it's just a pop open. You don't have to use a can opener. You just got to pull up the tab a little bit. Now, these are like knives. Don't put them in the sink. Of course, when we were kids, we didn't have this. We had a Hamilton Beach blender. And in fact, that was my job, or Vivian's job, was to mix up the tomatoes. Now, of course, we have a hand blender. That's how I'm frying the onions and garlic separate. Now, you guys stay there. Here we have our hand blender. Now, especially when you have these whole tomatoes, you gotta try and get each quick little zap first. Because I notice if you don't do that, there's always one tomato that doesn't get crushed. That happened the other day. I made a pot of sauce. I found 2 tomatoes that didn't get crushed. I was not happy. That feels relatively smooth. We're done with this. This can go back under the table where it belongs, so no one can get electrocuted. We get a full can of water, the little can. All right. And my dad used to do this with all the cans and then the jars of tomatoes. Make sure you get every ounce of tomatoes, as the English would say. Tomatoes, like we say in Brooklyn. There we go. And now this, and this in the garbage. Now, our onions here. I'll do it nicely. There you go. And of course, the first commandment, salt the onions and the garlic. Just a pinch. Now, here is my basil. I did this last fall. It was full then. Now I've been making quite a bit of sauce. You can see it's still pretty green. If I had a better camera, it's still quite green. So let's get a nice spoon here. I'll redo this during the summer using some fresh basil. That equals about 8 leaves and some of the oil. This will go back into the fridge in not too long. There we go. The official spoon for stirring the sauce. There we go. I mean, right now, the smell just with the basil and the sauce is incredible. And of course, with this much, you want at least 2 teaspoons of salt. I would say a tablespoon. Let's go with 2 teaspoons. Let's be a little conservative here on this. 1 teaspoon. 2 teaspoons. There we go. That just needs a couple more minutes to fry. I got it on high heat right now. There's quite a bit of oil in there, so there's no problem. Nothing's going to scorch. But then again, one of my students didn't know you could scorch mushrooms. Yes, I said it again. Sorry. My student knows who I'm talking about. Anyway. Okay. Here we go. Take a look at that. You see, it's kind of browned up a bit. That's good. That's done. So in the sauce it goes. This goes in the sink, and this goes on the fire. And like everything else, bring it to the boil and lower it to the simmer. And there we have it, Uncle Bart's famous tomato sauce. That's the basic recipe. From here on in, this is where you make changes. Now, for the usual sauce on Sunday, Which I know there's this whole thing. Is it gravy? Is it sauce? Sunday sauce, Sunday gravy? I don't know. I don't give a damn. Just give me the damn sauce for my macaroni. That's all I ask. But I just basically make what's technically a marinara. It's just the tomatoes and the onions, and that's it. It's just the sauce. Then you add meatballs and sausages, pig neck bones, like I said, braciole, and then it becomes Sunday stuff. But for all my vegetarian friends and vegans, because there's only olive oil in here, mazel tov, there you go. Now, here's part 2 of today's episode. Something to dip in the sauce. Now, I'm going to do something I don't want anybody to have a heart attack about. Remember, there's no sin in this. Pizza dough. Store-bought. Darn good stuff. For $1, you get 1 pound of pizza dough, and it is good. I mean, it's just pizza dough for crying out. You can't mess it up. I mean, even a certain brand that figures this cute little figurine that goes when you tickle it, that's good stuff. It's just already flattened out. It's a little bit smaller. If you get that particular brand, just use 2 separate ones. Get 2 of dough and 1 on top of the other. Otherwise, it's too thin. The good thing about this is it's just thick enough that we're going to use this, my trusty old cupcake pan, to make garlic knots. I've always made stuff like this, but you know, you change your recipes about 500 million times, and now this comes out pretty darn good. So let's go ahead and start to work this out. Get the scissors here next to the camera and open up the dough. Now, of course, one of the reasons why I'm doing this show is for college kids. A lot of you college kids ain't going to have time, are not going to have time to make your own dough. I just showed how to do it for bread. Yeah, what the heck. It's good to learn. But for you college kids who I'm aiming this out of, you know, my grandson and my nephews and stuff, this is what you would do. This nice dough. Now, we get a hold of our flour. And, oh dear. Oh, there it is. Wrong one. In the old days, that would be a blooper. So, let's put a little bit of flour on here, so we keep it on the board. Doesn't stick too much. This comes right off. I mean, I wish I knew how the heck they did this. They do a really good job. Voila. And then just a little bit of that. There we go. Now, if I had remembered to find it, I didn't. Ted and Joanne remodeled my kitchen. I still can't find a couple of my cooking utensils, so I'll find it eventually. So what you do is you stretch out the pizza dough like you were going to make a pizza, but we're not. You want to get it a little bit elongated, like this, and try to keep it about like that. Can you see that? Oh yeah, am I seeing this properly? Yeah. There we go. There. Now if I had the rolling pin, I mean, I had it, but I don't know what I did with it. So, stretch it out. There we go. And now, we put in the garlic. Now, we're not actually using garlic. We're using Mrs. Dash garlic and herb. Oh, there it is. It's back here. This is great stuff. It's amazing. So we go ahead and we put some on the dough like this. Okay. Alrighty. That goes over there. And then on top of this, a little drizzle of olive oil. Voila. There we go. And let's get this all nice and spread out here. Don't worry, my hands are cleaned. I washed them last week. And now we put on the cheese. Take a spoon. Yes, you should have copious amounts of spoon when you're a cook, because you're always going to need them. And sprinkle it on like this. Don't worry about the lumps. We'll just crush them in. And voila. There we go. Now, before we get rid of the spoon, we have our cupcake tin. We're going to put, hold on, time to stir the sauce. Let's see, it's starting to come to the boil. And like I said, we'll bring it down to a simmer. And as usual, at the end of the episode, I'll show you the finished products. You put in about a tablespoon of oil in each pan. This is similar to making Yorkshire rolls or popovers, but we're not going to heat it up first. We're just going to put these in there into the 375 to 400 degree oven and let it bake. These only take about 15 minutes because they're small pieces. Now, into this, we're going to put some cheese. Now, what happened was the first time I made this, I accidentally got some cheese in here, but it cooked up crispy like a crispelle. And it was incredible. Friend of mine was here for a birthday dinner, and it's incredibly crunchy. So I've adapted it like this. There we go. Good teaspoonful of cheese. I mean, again, these are guidelines. If you like more cheese, add more cheese. You don't want any cheese, don't add any cheese. Believe it or not, there's a vegan equivalent of grated cheese using ground cashews and nutritional yeast. I'm assuming you could do the same thing instead of, cow's cheese. So, just give it a shot. For me, it's not in the budget. Sometimes being a vegan is a little expensive. Now, you take the dough and just like with the chicken roulade, you fold it like this. Then you fold it again like that. Now before you bring that one over, where is... I'm always doing this. I'm losing one of the pieces of equipment I need. I have a nice silicone brush. Can't find it. I have to use my fingers again. Don't worry, washed them last week. And yes, that joke will never get old. Just put this on here to give it something to seal to. There we go. There we go. I'll shut that off. And now you go back to using a regular knife. Voila. Cut this in half. And then this in thirds. Very similar when you do a cinnamon bun. And you press it down into the cupcake tin. Like that. And just like with cinnamon buns, you're going to let this rise for about half hour. But I'm not going to sit here and blather on for half an hour, although trust me, I could. Voila. You flatten it out like this. There we go. Here's the last one. Goes in. There we go. Voila! Garlic knots. Now, we're going to cover this, let it rise for a while, and then I'll put it in the oven, and I'll show you at the end of the episode. So, that's Uncle Bart for College Cuisine. Well, not quite. But, eat more and enjoy. I'll figure out a way to edit to the end or something, or I'll figure something out. Hope you like the show. We'll see you soon on Uncle Bart's College Cuisine. Take care. Bye. There it is, tomato sauce and garlic knot with cheese. Unfortunately, I can't taste it. I only have 2 hands, and I can't hold the camera any other way. So there it is. Eat more and enjoy. See you later. Bye-bye.
There's not enough light.